Hi, this is Bob Duncan of Fruit Trees and More Demonstration Orchard and Nursery. We are located near the town of Sydney, just a little north of Victoria on the southeast tip of Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada. Today we are going to talk about growing avocados in a climate where nobody would have ever believed it possible. So avocados are native to the Americas. Actually, Europeans did not have avocados until the Americas were discovered. So there are three races of avocados. There's a West Indies race, which, as you might believe, because the West Indies do not get very cold, has very little hardiness, perhaps to 0 Celsius. Then there's a Guatemalan race that grows up in elevation a little bit in Guatemala and has a hardiness of about -3 Celsius. And then there's a Mexican race that grows in the plateau of central Mexico, where guess what happens every winter? They get frost and they even get snow sometimes. Mexico City itself sometimes gets frost. So Mexican race avocados have considerable hardiness and are, generally speaking, the best type of avocados to grow in marginal climates. Now, as it happens, the Mexican avocados have very high oil content and have very high flavor and are actually very desirable. On average, their skin is quite thin, so you can actually eat the skin and the flesh. You can make your guacamole mashing up the whole fruit except for the seed. So it's a very useful fruit, difficult from a commercial perspective because the fruit is so thin, so it doesn't ship very readily. So we are currently trialing more than 8 different types of avocados here. And this avocado beside me here is called the bacon avocado. And it is the first of the several different varieties that we're working with to actually bear fruit. So the tree is 6 years old. It flowered for the first time at 5 years. And this year it has set a single fruit. But of further note, it is actually holding about 30 small fruits for next year's crop. So little 1/2 to 3/4 inch fruits. Now, most of these fruits are in all likelihood going to drop. But if we held on to 5 or 6 of them into next spring and summer, I would consider that a huge success. Now, the winter protection strategy for the avocado is very similar to that we've developed over the last 30 years for lemons, limes, oranges, mandarins. So typically, where we grow these crops is against a hot south wall or in a high tunnel, and this particular plant is in a high tunnel, or in a non-heated greenhouse. And the trees are managed essentially for freezing, even though this bacon avocado tree is hardy to about -5, -6 Celsius. So it's the same hardiness as the Meyer lemon, which we also have great success with. So in managing it exactly the same as the Meyer lemon, we're managing it for freezing. And we're doing it with a combination of incandescent Christmas lights and remay, or floating row cover. So in sub-freezing weather, the trees are covered with the floating row cover, which allows sunlight to pass through, and it breathes because it's not plastic, and it traps the heat, the low-grade heat of the incandescent Christmas lights. So we can protect an avocado tree like this one, which is about 6 feet high and about 6 feet broad, for perhaps $3 to $4 worth of electricity for the entire winter. I anticipate in 3, 4, 5 years, this tree will probably be producing somewhere between 20 and 30 avocados per year. So the cost per fruit, as you can see, would be very low compared to what you're going to pay in the grocery store, and especially if it's grown in Canada, avocados. So what I would like to suggest to people who live in similar climatic zones to what we have here, where we have mild winters, and the local climate is described as a modified Mediterranean climate. We have 10 to 15 nights in a winter that are cold enough that you might cause a little bit of damage to the tree. So for those 10 to 15 nights, we do intervene, as I said, with the Christmas lights and the remay. So if you live in the Low Countries or southern England, or you live anywhere along the shores of the Salish Sea in Washington or British Columbia, the systems that we've developed here to grow citrus and avocados should work well for you as well. So I wish you luck in your endeavors to grow your own homegrown avocados. I think it is quite the thing, and certainly uh, it's something that has not been within reach of Canadians, but now I believe we're right on the cusp of producing our own homegrown avocados. Thank you very much. Okay, so just as a further update on the avocado video, the avocado that was featured in this YouTube dropped from the tree on the 30th of July. So it's fully ripe, and presumably the oil content has increased by leaving it hang on the tree for the maximum period of time. Perhaps there might be a little deterioration in the interior quality. I'm not sure, but we're going to find out because we're going to do the taste test right now. So this avocado ended up 12.5 ounces or 355 grams. So not bad for the first avocado produced on this 6-year-old tree. So now we're going to do the taste test and we'll see what it tastes like. So there's the pit has just been removed, and it's a relatively large seed to flesh ratio, but there's still plenty of flesh here. So now we'll do the taste test. Nice soft texture, separates quite readily, so we'll give it a go. Smooth, beautiful flavor. True avocado flavor. Not as strong as perhaps a Hass, but it's very pleasant. So there's the update on the taste quality of this fruit. Thank you.